Welcome to the official ribbon cutting of the Special Olympics Michigan Unified Sports and Inclusion Center Outdoor Complex. And it's safe to say it's a sold-out event. Please welcome to the stage one of the largest supporters of Special Olympics Michigan. She was instrumental from the very beginning in supporting this project with the ICYMI Board of Directors and served as the Capital Campaign co-chair. It is my honor to introduce to you today ICYMI Hall of Fame member Juliette Dragos.
Everyone. Good morning. Families, friends, all of our many supporters, volunteers, and mostly athletes. This is your day. This is your day. We have so much to get to in this celebration, but before we begin the big celebration, I want to tell you a story about how we ended up here today. Once upon a time, in 2018, the longtime president and CEO of Special Olympics Michigan told the board chair that she was going to retire after 38 years. The board chair was newly board chair Juliette Dragos. So one of my first responsibilities as the chairman of the board of Special Olympics Michigan was to find someone who was going to succeed our previous CEO. So my vice chair of the board, Michelle Acciavetti, and I formed a team, a committee, a search committee, and we launched a nationwide search. We received dozens and dozens and dozens of applications and resumes. We went through every one, and through it all, one person rose to the top, a clear choice. His name, Tim Heilman, and he was right here in West Michigan. So this new president and CEO, Tim Heilman, had the excitement and was just the perfect person. His staff, the athletes loved him. And we told him, Tim, we know that you have big shoes to fill, succeeding someone who's been here for 38 years, but we don't want you to just fill those shoes. We want you to take Special Olympics Michigan to the next level. Be a visionary. So not even a year after Tim Heilman took over as president and CEO of Special Olympics Michigan, he had a meeting with the board leadership, the three officers, Michelle, Matt Simon, who was our treasurer at the time, and me. And we went over and said, what a great job you're doing. How's it going? What do you need? What can we do? Great meeting. Very end of the meeting, he goes, one more thing. He handed each of us a folder. And in the folder was a real estate listing for an old school with drawings and the listing. And he said, I want to buy a school. I want to give our Special Olympics Michigan athletes a home because we have never had a home. Up until then, we had to rent gym space. We had to beg schools, when you're done practicing, can we use your facilities? Because we need to train, we need to practice. So the three of us looked at each other and we said, is this guy cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? What is he thinking? And then he explained his vision and it made such sense. The thing you need to understand is Special Olympics Michigan is a statewide organization, 20,000 athletes from all over the state. And so we have board members from all over the state. So how do you buy a building? Well, you got to convince the board of directors why it's a good idea. And so we took Tim's idea. We said, that's the least we could do. We owe it to the board to present this idea to him. And as you might imagine, there were a lot of tense discussions, a lot of valid concerns, and a lot of good questions as to why. And in the end, I said, what is the worst thing that can happen if we buy this home for our athletes? If it doesn't work, we'll sell the building. There were so many other people who were interested, other buyers. And so we had to vote. We had a 5 o'clock deadline because the realtor had other people who wanted to buy the building. And we discussed and we discussed and we went around and we went around and we voted to buy this building. So Tim Heilman got his building. And that's what we called it, the building. So next chapter, we bought this big, beautiful, old, neglected, 127,000 square foot building that now, what are we going to do next? Number one, first, in order to make the transformation, we have to do the renovations and the repairs, and they needed a lot. And so we thought, West Michigan, probably maybe other cities, we couldn't do it, or other communities. We knew West Michigan had a heart and cares for inclusion and cares for Special Olympics Michigan. So we began our fundraising efforts. The first person we went to was Peter Secchia, a longtime supporter and friend of Special Olympics Michigan. We went to his office. Tim Heilman, Krista Paulin, and I had a meeting with him, and we explained it to him, and he did not hesitate. He was on board right away. And I said, Peter, I'm so nervous. Do you think we can do this? And he said, absolutely. I have no doubt. No one will say no to you. Okay. That's what he said. So that was how we began. We formed a capital campaign, a committee, and Brian Kelly, the co-chair, is just the most amazing co-chair, the most amazing fundraiser, and the biggest advocate for the building and for Special Olympics Michigan. And we began fundraising. And then something happened. After our first meeting, the pandemic. So everything shut down. So all of our plans, we had to change. But we had a meeting with the Van Andels, with Carol and Dave, already scheduled right before the state shut down. And they were gracious enough to hear us. So once again, the three of us went before Carol and Dave and their foundation, and we said, this is our idea. Can we count on your support? And just so, unwavering. So that's how it started. And so now we have so many, all of our families, all of our wonderful, wonderful people in our community who have supported us. So we began the transformation very slowly. And then we're like, well, we need a track. We need a track. When we were doing the inside, we got our 2 gyms, we have an auditorium, we need a track. Well, who could we approach? So we approached Gun Lake CEO Sal Samola. And we said, we want to put a track in. Do you think you might support that? He said, I want to do more than that. He toured the place. His eyes lit up. We had to go to the tribal council, pitch the idea to them, and look where you are today. This is this is so much of why we are here outside. So it's been a long ride, and we had no idea that Tim's vision would end up the dream to the reality it is today. So this is maybe the end of this story, but today we're starting a new book. And the sky's the limit, because we are here for the athletes. Athletes, you are our motivation, you are our inspiration, and you are why we are having a celebration. So thank you. And this is your home. One other thing before we move on is that our visionary, Tim Heilman, said, we have this huge building. Why not share it with others who also serve the disabilities, people with disabilities in the community? So, as you might have noticed, we have many other nonprofits who also call this building home. So we serve people of all abilities. So this isn't just for Special Olympics Michigan. This is for everyone in our community. Yeah, you'll be hearing a lot more about it. I know we want to move on. So right now, I would like to introduce to you my co-MC of the morning, Kayla Johnson, who is a Special Olympics Michigan athlete, and is going to tell you more about her. Come on up.
Good morning. Good morning. Hello, my name is Kayla Johnson. I was born in Nicaragua. I was raised in Detroit. I am so proud to call Michigan my hometown. I am a Special Olympics athlete. I participate in basketball, track, soccer, flag football, and my newest sport is going to be golf this year. I attend Diane Banks. It's a trade school, and I am learning how to get a job there. I am also an athlete to share my story of inclusion with all you beautiful people that's here today. Today we are not here just to cut a beautiful ribbon. We are here to embrace a future for us in empowerment, inclusion, and community. Athletes, this is a building for us. I've been waiting for this for so long. This is a place call home. Athletes, I want to hear y'all. How do y'all feel about this building? Now I'm gonna pass it back to my best friend.
Kayla, you are so awesome. So let's get started. And what better way to begin our celebration than with this beautiful track? So right now we are going to do the Flame of Hope. We're going to welcome the Flame of Hope, our law enforcement torch run. Michigan Law Enforcement Torch Run partners, they will be escorted by the athletes they serve. And the Michigan Law Enforcement Torch Run is responsible for fundraising. The polar plunges, anyone who's ever been to one or has heard of one, the people who put that on are the Michigan Law Enforcement Torch Run. They are amazing. And athletes, we know how much you love our officers, our first responders, our corrections. Let's hear it for them right now before we even start. All right, Kayla, we ready to get going? All right, so let's start. Carrying the torch from the Michigan Department of Corrections, Director Heidi Washington. Director Washington has served as the director of the Michigan Department of Corrections since July of 2015. As director, she is responsible for overseeing the administration of Michigan's correctional system, which includes the state's prisons, probation, and parole supervision, the parole board. Chief of Police. He served in the Chicago Police Department for more than 20 years in various patrol, tactical, investigative, and administrative positions. Chief Winston is a court-recognized expert on police policy, use of force, criminal investigations, and the Fourth Amendment.
The chief is joined by Area 26, Jacob.
Jacob Nelson lives in Chelsea and is a 7-time state champion in adaptive track, setting many records and breaking barriers. He is the first wheelchair athlete in the state of Michigan to team with peers. Jake's a coach and umpire and athlete for Special Olympics Michigan. And when he's not cheering on his teammates for Special Olympics, he roots for the University of Michigan. Now accepting the Flame of Hope, Kent County Sheriff Michelle LaJoy Young. Sheriff Young was local to Kent County Sheriff's Department since 1989. She served various roles within the Corrections Patrol, Communications, Support Services. She was appointed sheriff in 2018. And she is the first female sheriff in Kent County history. And the only existing female sheriff in the state of Michigan.
The sheriff is joined by Area 11.
He says he doesn't have you. Good?
Yeah, he should be having you.
Listen, Ada. She loves making a splash on and off the field, especially through her polar plunge fundraising. You may have seen her on your local news for her fun videos. We run them. She plays basketball, poly hockey, and track. Katie is part of the Down Syndrome Association of West Michigan as well, and serves on the Self-Advocate Board. The torch is now being passed to Colonel James Grady, the director of the Michigan State Police. Colonel Grady is the 20th director of the Michigan State Police. In 1998, Colonel Grady joined the MSP as a trooper, serving at the former Adrian and Detroit posts. He was promoted to detective and supervisor, and then in 2020, he was promoted to captain and became commander of the MSP training division, where he worked to modernize police training and develop well-rounded troopers.
The colonel is joined by Jeremiah from Area 4.
Jeremiah Soccer lives in Broken Lake. He loves to ski and play soccer for Sony. He recently learned that he'll be attending the 2025 Special Olympics World Games in Italy. It will be his first time traveling internationally for the first time ever. And our final torchbearer, the final leg of this run, preparing to light the cauldron, our friend, John Colley, Special Olympics Michigan, current board chair, director of the Law Enforcement Torch Run in Michigan, and retired inspector with Michigan State Police. John has been such a huge advocate of bringing this building here, bringing this home here. He started volunteering with Special Olympics in 1995. as a Sentinel route runner for the state police. His career has taken him to do work in all.
All those cameras in there.
It's working, it's working.
Good.
He also will be going to the World Games here. She lives in Divingdale. She's been committed to something. She's been an athlete for more than 20 years. She's a multi-sport athlete. And this year, Liz was selected from hundreds of other athletes across the country to announce an NFL draft pick for her in front of ESPN. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for our LTR Rockers and Members annual athlete. Ladies and gentlemen, President and CEO of Special Olympics Michigan, Tim Heilman.
Oh my goodness, this is amazing. Thank you all so much for being here. The last few days have felt a little bit like Christmas Eve, right? When you're a child and it was kind of hard to go to bed, you know, and waiting for what's happening and it's here today and seeing the athletes arrive and seeing our supporters and community members, our family members, and knowing, as Juliet said, this is for them. It's incredible. So I knew for a little while I was going to get the opportunity to share a few words. And the days kind of came by and you know, multiple times I'd have staff or giving tours of friends and supporters and say, hey, do you know what you're going to say? I said, I'll know when it happens. And then last night, trying to think of what I'm going to say, how do you sum up 5 years, right? 5 years of a process led by our athletes, facilitated, you know, by our athletes, so many community members, and Juliet, the words were so kind. I get way too much credit. You know, there are so many people, and I'll share in a second, that made this happen. But it all started with our athletes, and that's the most important thing. So I was thinking about how am I going to keep this short and quick, because I know it's going to be hot, and it's hot on that track. And then this morning, one of our athlete leaders, Max Hinga, we had some news stations here this morning, and they asked him, he said, what does this building mean to you? And he nailed it, right? Something I was struggling with, how do you figure all of this out? And he nailed it. He just said, this is for everyone, and it changes lives. Right? And so Max, you know, you're here somewhere. That's it, right? And from the athletes who shared that, this building, Special Olympics Michigan, it's for everyone, and it changes lives. Juliet shared a little bit about the board meeting, the process getting here. One of my favorite memories is the summer of 2019 when we brought some parents and family members to this facility, who local athletes who just thought, hey, we're having another Special Olympics meeting. We're going to the South Christian High School. We gathered in the lobby and we got to share the news, right? And that news is, this is yours. Athletes, this is your place. Parents, family members, you know, you will always know that you've got a place here for your athletes. And seeing the smiles, seeing the excitement, seeing the high fives, seeing the hugs, getting the hugs, it was incredible. And I got to see that again today and see new athletes and folks, and it's been so incredible. On that same day, we met with a lot of athletes. We met in what was the old library, where we were all you know, for the reception, beautiful space. That used to be an old library. And from there, we asked the athletes, what do you want? What do you see? What are your goals? What are your dreams? And this is what was created from that, from athletes. And so I'm really proud to say, from day one, this was inspired and created by our athletes. And so athletes, thank you, and thank you for being here, and all the athletes around the stage. All right, second hardest part about my speech, and I'll get moving here, is there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people to thank. You know, Juliet did a great job of sharing it and messaging, but this has really been a community project. You know, one of the great things that we always say about Special Olympics Michigan is our athletes bring people together. They unite, right? In a time where it feels like sometimes, and especially in the next couple months, differences are pulling us away, our athletes bring us together. And there are so many people I want to thank. And if I did that, I'd pull out my list down here and we'd be in this hot sun for a really, really long time. So I'll do this. One, again, just thank you to all of the sponsors, the supporters. Please look around, see the signs, see the activation that people believed in this from interior to exterior. There's so many partners that helped make this possible. Juliet mentioned, have to thank the Special Olympics Michigan Board of Directors, that executive committee of Michelle Accavetti, Juliet, Matt Simon, and that board, where even yesterday was thinking about it, boy, how did we make that decision and go? So really incredible, but it happened because they always look out for our athletes. We start every meeting, we end every board meeting. Our board members are asking, how did we do for our athletes? We have Liz in the front row, one of our athletes, and board members, and she says that, right? Like, how do we do for our athletes?
And I always say, I think we have done a tremendous job.
Awesome, all right. Thanks, Liz. I also need to thank our capital campaign leadership. If you want the book on the best co-chairs and committee, it can be written by Julia and Brian. They were so a part of this project and the advocacy and made this real and really led our campaign. I also want a special shout out to one of our cabinet members and campaign members. It's over here, Melissa McKinley. Melissa has brought in so many tours, so many partner representatives to see this. You were part of this vision and all of this piece coming together so early on. So thank you, Melissa. In a minute, you're going to get to hear from Sal Savola, the Gun Lake Tribe, Gun Lake Casino Resort. You know, just a couple years ago when this was all happening, they made the single largest philanthropic commitment in Special Olympics Michigan history to make this happen, to say, hey, we want to join with all of these wonderful partners and organizations and happenings. So thank you, Sal. Want to send a shout out to Mark Edenson. So Mark Edenson was, at the time when we were purchasing the facility, the Special Olympics North America CEO, and received a lot of guidance and support and really confidence of saying, hey, you guys can do this. You guys can set a new way for Special Olympics and Special Olympics Michigan. And I'll never forget, he said, once this is all completed, you're never going to want to go home because there's going to be so much fun and activity for the athletes. So thank you, Mark. Our early building partners, Dave Olkowski, Jackie Johnson, Christy Buck from Disability Advocates, Thresholds, and Be Nice, where we're saying we want this collaborative space. Let's come together. They did that. Our Special Olympics Michigan staff, I have to thank the staff. This team works so hard. They love our athletes. This is an everyday, everywhere movement. We cut the ribbon today. We're going to celebrate. There's going to be activities. And next week, we're heading over to the east side of the state because we have our state fall games. And then the next day, there's another event. And this staff works so tremendously hard because they love what they do and they love our athletes. I do want to have a shout out to Jen Van Skyver. I saw Jen over on the side. Jen, from the very beginning and talking about this, always made sure that we never settle for anything, right? Our athletes always deserve the highest quality. Our athletes always deserve the best and always kept that in the forefront of the project. Want to thank Drew Nelson, our building and facility coordinator, who makes so much happening in the organization. And Chastity Kopernick, who does so much of the behind the scenes and working with all of our partners and everything. Again, we have an amazing staff and they do such a great job with that. Our LETR program, who has helped take us to the next level. And then now, right to the most important parts. One, our volunteers, coaches, family members, right? Give a hand, please, for those that we see so many. We don't have Special Olympics without our coaches, without our volunteers, and it is so crucial. And I'll tell you what, there's going to be a lot more opportunities to get involved. So come and see us, see one of the red tents. We have that, so thank you. And then lastly, again, our athletes. I'm really fortunate to not only, be in this role as CEO, but I have athlete colleagues now. Through this facility, we employ a couple Special Olympics athletes, and you can't have a bad day when Freddie and Britton are in the office. You can't. I get, as CEO, we get some difficult challenges and some things and problems, and I'll pull Kayla over in the building and say, Kayla, help me out. I'll ask Liz, right? And so our athletes being a part of everything, and that's what it's all about. So I'll close with this and kind of on what Max shared of this is for everyone. And again, in this time and spot in our lives and in the world, right? If you're feeling down, feeling a little tired, you need a little joy in your life, come back here, right? Our athletes will welcome you and they will show you that joy. You're feeling a little lonely, isolated, and we have that right now in this world. Come here, our athletes will welcome you, and you are a part of something bigger. When you have that day when it's kind of everything's heavy and you need that hope, come back here. Our athletes welcome you and they will show you that. This is more about fields, more about program spaces. This is about love, respect, inclusion, and our athletes will continue to lead the way, and we can't wait to see you back here cheering on our athletes. Thank you so much for being here.
Tim, thank you. We know it's hot out here, but right now, somebody who was so instrumental in making this happen and who raises so much money and cares so much about Special Olympics athletes, chairman of the board and law enforcement torch run, this is Mr. John Carter.
Thank you, Juliet. It's amazing to stand before you all today and to think that that building became what it is today for you, the athletes. I was one of those that Juliet referenced on the board saying, we're going to do what? Why? We're going to spend money. And they convinced me. They certainly did, and this is the proof right here. I've got some folks to thank, my fellow law enforcement officers that work. They just came through Claim Hope Week last week. We're on schedule to make $2.5 million for Special Olympics athletes this year. They are here for you, the athletes. The board of directors, the board members that I sit with, they are all here for you, the athletes. This building, these grounds, these beautiful grounds that we stand on, all here for you, the athletes. I go to our international conference, and that's worldwide, and they wonder how Michigan is doing what we're doing. And it's because of you, our athletes. So I want to say thank you for leading the way, for showing us what the spirit of competition truly is, and everyone, choose to include everyone. Thank you.
Up next, Hank Meyer, CEO of Meyer, one of the first companies to really advocate for people with disabilities.
Thank you, Juliet, and we've gotten the word to move it along so that you can enjoy some cooler weather. But it's a real privilege to join everyone today and to really, I think, speak on behalf of a lot of people in this community who are here today for this as we cut the ribbon on this beautiful new facility. I know I'm filled with gratitude. Juliet talked about vision, and we've heard a lot about that today, but also there's courage. Courage of the athletes to take the first step, courage of the board to get behind such an ambitious project, courage of the community to come together around this. Supporting the Special Olympics and the amazing athletes has been a deeply meaningful endeavor. The vision behind this building is simple but powerful. Provide a space where every athlete can train, compete, and feel valued. I've seen firsthand the impact that these programs have on the lives of individuals and their families. The joy, determination, and sense of community that radiates from this organization is nothing short of inspiring. The building is not just a symbol of our collective commitment to inclusivity. It's also a place where dreams are realized, friendships are formed, barriers are broken. One of the first people I met when I came in today was one of this athlete leaders, Max. Tim mentioned him earlier, who actually works at our Cascade store. And I asked Max, what sports are you most passionate about? And he named several. And he said, now I'm looking forward to poly hockey. You'll have to ask Max what that means. But it's part of the range of activities that are available here And so this building is a symbol of our commitment. It's a place where there are many achievements that have happened already and that are about to happen. Memories will be made within these walls and on this field, and together we're creating a brighter future for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Hank, and thank you to Maya for your support. Up next, Sal Samola, Gun Lake President, CEO. He is the one who also had this vision for this outdoor facility.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for this celebration. You know, I'm not embarrassed to say that when I got out of the car and started walking towards the field complex, I started crying. I thought that was kind of behind me, but it's creeping back up again. You know, the term awesome, that word, it's thrown around kind of loosely. But when you look at this complex, that building, and realize all the good that's going to come out of these venues, you have to think this is ground zero for love and happiness. A lot of good things coming out of here, long overdue. Hopefully this will be a model for other Special Olympic organizations throughout the country and the world eventually, because every athlete deserves at least this at a minimum. So thank you again for joining us.
Next to speak a few words, a good friend to Special Olympics.
She's not only a good friend to Special Olympics, but she is also with Special Olympics North America. And she was a great supporter, Amy Dugan.
Good morning. It is my genuine pleasure to be with all of you this historic day for Special Olympics Michigan and to convey the well wishes of everyone at Special Olympics North America and Special Olympics International. 5 years ago, when Tim invited me to walk these halls one afternoon, he was entertaining the idea of this possibly being a future home of Special Olympics Michigan. As Juliet said, he was a brand new CEO, put in the position by fate to have to find a new home for Special Olympics Michigan. And he thought the board was either going to think he was a visionary or insane. And his tenure would, shall we say, be succinct, if the latter of the two. But we walked those halls, we talked about how this could be truly a conceptual first in the Special Olympics movement. We went out to dinner and the ideas just started tumbling onto paper and getting so excited about it. And now that vision, that gamble, look around. So congratulations, Tim, on your vision. I also want to commend Juliet and the board because they took a big gamble as well, and they were the first to step up to put their support and faith in the vision that Tim and this team had, and for their thoughtfulness in exercising what was a big leap for Special Olympics Michigan. This unique place, Special Olympics Michigan and the other wonderful organizations that share this space called home, is impressive and is something to be proud of for sure. But it will ultimately only be significant because of what happens within these walls and on these fields of play, and as a result of the life and community transforming work of Special Olympics. I am particularly honored to be here today because while I love all the programs of Special Olympics Michigan, don't tell anyone, I'm a little biased. Being a Michigander myself, thank you for the small whoop. I'm a proud second-generation Special Olympics. Where are my Genesee County folks? Anyone from that neck of the woods? My mom was a Genesee County coach and coordinator from before I was born, a special education teacher, and some of my earliest memories in life were being at her practices, that little 4- and 5-year-old that was useless on the field, but having a great time, going to Central Michigan with her athletes to the games. At the time, I didn't know the world saw her athletes as different. I just knew there were kids bigger than me that could run fast and swim and do gymnastics, and I wanted to be just like them when I grew up. And in many regards, I still do. So like many of you in the stands today, I'm proof that just exposure to our movement and our mission can wildly influence the trajectory of a life. It is the obligation of all of us who are here today to open our, not just these doors, but our hearts and arms to everyone who is not yet to know the promise and the impact of Special Olympics. Passion and hope are great traits and make all of us wonderful ambassadors of Special Olympics, but that hope, it's got to intersect with action. So my question to each of you is, what will you do when you leave here today? What will this place inspire you to do? This Center for Inclusion, this focal point for Special Olympics Michigan, how will you take things back home to make Special Olympics stronger and more vibrant in your communities all throughout Michigan, so that every Michigander gets to know the power and impact of Special Olympics, not just those lucky enough to be close to this center in Grand Rapids. Special Olympics, it isn't brick and mortar and steel and cables and these walls and halls. Special Olympics' true residence is within its people. You all know that Special Olympics home is wherever we feel celebrated, accepted, included, valued, and that we are where we're supposed to be, where we belong. So I hope all of you who come here from throughout the state, I look forward to coming back and bringing lots of our colleagues from throughout the United States, from out the world. Whether you come here for a coach's training, an athlete leadership workshop, whatever you come here for, I hope you enter to learn and you go forth to serve. Congratulations to all the supporters, the SOMI team, massive shout out to y'all. Congratulations, Tim and the board, well done.
Amy, thank you for being here. Up next, the president of the Small Business Association of Michigan, my co-chair of the Capital Campaign, and the man instrumental in getting bipartisan support from our state lawmakers, many of whom who are here today, Brian Kelly.
I'll just run through some thank yous. Tim and the A+++ team behind him at SOMI and Lois for the groundwork laid decades before to make all this possible. For the board for having the guts to move forward with it. For the families here in West Michigan to send us an important signal to the marketplace when you have names like Meyer and Van Andel and Sekia and Jander Noah that get behind it early, it sends a message to everybody else like this is going to happen. You're going to want to be a part of this. And then one of those messages was sent to the state of Michigan, like this is something worthy of your support. And we have here, I'll just ask you to stand. We got some state representatives over here. We got a state senator over here. Maybe the legislature. Just stand up real quickly. Say hello. True bipartisanship. Thank you for not letting partisanship get in the way of your support of this project. To the partners that co-located here and shared some of the risk and make it possible to maintain the building and sustainability over time. But especially thank you for the athletes, for being the inspiration for the project, for helping to design the project itself, but also for the attitude. You'd think, people that have spent so much of their life trying to get through locked doors, having to just use facilities when somebody else's facility when they weren't using it, like the leftovers. And for the attitude of here, the very first instinct and attitude, instead of saying this is ours, saying this is for everybody. And that is the true spirit of Special Olympics athletes. Thank you, athletes. This is all for you.
Thank you, Brian. Our final speaker today is a multi-sport Special Olympics Michigan athlete, an international health messenger, an athlete leader, and she works for Special Olympics Michigan right here at the Unified Sports and Inclusion Center.
Good morning, people. Let's hear it for Area 11, my good friend, and she has the same name as me, my good friend Kayla.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kayla Cornell. I have been involved with Special Olympics for as long as I can remember. I love to ski, powerlift, and cheer on my fellow athletes. I am a SOMI athlete leader, global messenger, and an international health messenger. SOMI has not only taught me the valuable skills, but it has also helped me excel in my role as a lead supervisor for the ski and snowboarding program for the YMCA of Greater Grand Rapids. And as of October, we will finally launch our partnership with the YMCA of Greater Grand Rapids, and super excited to show you all that will happen with that. Special Olympics has given me the tools to take control of my life, a life beyond sports. Through SOMI, I have learned a healthy relationship with food and found my passion teaching others the values of nutrition. I have gone on to study dietetics with the goal of becoming a registered dietitian. in the Grand Rapids area, I already call this building home. I now work for ICYMI, Michigan as the first health and wellness athlete intern. And I have access to the state-of-the-art culinary kitchen where I can make and record healthy recipes to share with my fellow athletes. My goal has always been to make a difference in other people's lives, and ICYMI has continued to give me the tools to make my voice heard. This building is the first of its kind, but hopefully the first of many more to come. It is just another step in the breaking down the long standard barriers and creating a more inclusive world for all. Today has been a long time coming, and I am so excited the day is officially here. Athletes, welcome home to your new facility.
All right, it is now time to officially open the Unified Sports and Inclusion Center Outdoor Sports Complex. Are you ready? As we get ready to cut this ribbon, we are opening the doors to a space where individuals of all abilities can come together to play, learn, and grow. Here, every athlete will have the opportunity to thrive, fostering friendships and breaking down barriers in the spirit of inclusion. Here's to a future filled with unity, joy, and unforgettable memories. So without further ado, let's cut this ribbon and officially welcome everyone into this incredible new chapter of the Unified Sports and Inclusion. But I need all of your help. We're going to count down from 5. Are we ready? Yeah. All right, here we go. 5, 4,